Good evening, everybody, and welcome to this evening's update on Hurricane Helene. So, I'm going to be discussing an overlooked impact of Hurricane Helene this evening, and this is going to be the tornado threat. The Storm Prediction Center has issued an enhanced risk of severe weather across northeastern Florida through eastern Georgia, eastern South Carolina, and southeastern North Carolina this evening in the orange shaded region from Jacksonville through Savannah through Charleston through Wilmington, with a slight risk of severe weather across much of Florida through eastern Georgia, much of South Carolina, and southern North Carolina in yellow, with a marginal risk in the dark green from southern Florida through northern North Carolina, and this is driven by a 10% chance of a tornado touching down within 25 miles of a location from Jacksonville through Savannah through Charleston through Wilmington. And this is going to be a result of the bands rotating around Hurricane Helene, going to produce multiple tornadoes, spin-ups, as the bands move on shore across Georgia and the Carolinas and Florida this evening and overnight, unfortunately, looking at the possibility of several nocturnal tornadoes across from Florida through Georgia through the Carolinas. We have a 5% chance of a tornado touching down within 25 miles of a location across much of the Florida Peninsula through eastern Georgia, central, western South Carolina, and southern North Carolina in the brown, with a 2% chance of a tornado from southern Florida through most of Georgia, western Florida, and northern North Carolina in the green shade area. And unfortunately, this is going to continue into tomorrow as well, where the Storm Prediction Center has issued an enhanced risk of severe weather centered around Wilmington, North Carolina, with a slight risk across southern Virginia, much of North Carolina, and eastern South Carolina, a marginal risk from Charleston through the Delmarva tomorrow. And this is also driven by a 10% chance of a tornado touching down within 25 miles of a location centered around the Wilmington area, with a 5% chance of a tornado touching down within 25 miles of a location across much of North Carolina, eastern South Carolina, and southern Virginia tomorrow, and a 2% chance of a tornado from Charleston all the way around through the Delmarva area. So, my personal prediction, dozens of tornadoes are going to spawn from Florida through the mid-Atlantic and the southeast, Georgia, the Carolinas, Florida, Virginia, through the Delmarva, from tonight all the way through tomorrow. And a lot of these are going to be nocturnal tornadoes. So please have your NOAA weather radios ready to receive warnings tonight, so that way you can get to shelter if tornado warnings are issued for your area. Taking a look at the latest radar, first taking a look at Helene. Helene, unfortunately, has strengthened to a 125 mile per hour Category 3 major hurricane, borderline Category 4, with a central pressure of 950 millibars. This is continuing to strengthen, and I predict a Category 4 landfall south of Tallahassee around 10 o'clock this evening. Devastating impacts for Tallahassee, but focusing back in on our tornado threat, we have a tornado warning just east of Northport in southwestern Florida. One of these feeder bands is producing a supercell rotating around Helene Center, and these are going to be producing tornadoes, unfortunately, tonight through tomorrow, all the way from Florida through the Carolinas and the Delmarva. And take a look at the velocity on this to see if there's any strong rotation. Thankfully, with this particular cell, not really strong rotation, but if you live in Port Charlotte and Punta Gorda, take your shelter anyway, as we could be seeing a tornado drop down at any time, as this rotation could intensify. So please just take your tornado precautions if you live in this tornado warning area. We have a tornado watch in effect across most of the Florida Peninsula and Panhandle, the southeastern half of Georgia, and most of South Carolina. Taking a look at our tornado watch, in Florida, our tornado watch is in effect until 8 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time this evening, with the primary threats including several tornadoes likely. Looking at northeastern Florida, our tornado watch is in effect until 10 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time this evening. Across western Florida, tornado watch is in effect until 10 p.m. this evening. Across Georgia, our tornado watch is in effect until 10 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time this evening as well. And taking a look at our tornado watch in South Carolina, this tornado watch is also in effect actually until 9 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. I expect this to be extended through the overnight hours, with several tornadoes likely. So please prepare for numerous tornadoes in your area tonight. If you live anywhere, especially from Jacksonville through Savannah through Charleston through Wilmington, as the bands of Hurricane Helene will continue to rotate and produce tornado spin-ups as Helene continues to move to the north this evening and overnight. Thanks for watching this evening's update. Please stay safe and have a wonderful evening, my friends.